sentence of the legislation tells us a great story, and I think we have to listen to it. CRA International Accounting did a study, and it showed that as a result of this cap and trade legislation, household income for Michigan families would be reduced by over $900 per family by the year 2030. A direct impact on the state of Michigan. That's hardly what we need here in our state with the highest unemployment rate in the nation right now, I guarantee you that. Heritage Foundation did a study. They said this House bill is going to cause gasoline prices to rise 58%. 58%. Can you say $4 per gallon gasoline? Can you say lower auto sales and more layoffs in the auto industry once again? Beyond that, think about what it means to real people in rural Michigan. Those who have to drive many miles to go to the doctor, to go to the grocery store, to go to hospital. What it means to commuters in Oakland County, right here in Livonia, out in western Wayne County, where there is no mass transit to take people. These are the people who are going to be impacted, who have to pay more for gasoline. Carry it even further. Just follow the trail of where the energy price increase leads you to the increased money that it's going to cost school districts to heat all their buildings and fuel their buses. Think about the impact it's going to have on cities and counties with police and fire departments and all their vehicles and all the services they provide during the winter and during the summer. The impact of higher heating bills on hospitals and clinics and on nursing homes that have to pass these costs along if they're going to continue to give the outstanding care that they already do. That Heritage study I mentioned estimates Michigan in the long haul is going to lose, you heard the figure, 64,000 jobs. I've seen it as high as 73,000 jobs if this legislation is passed. Now just think about what that's going to mean to tax revenues here in Michigan, where we have budget meetings going on right now to try to figure out how to close a gap that within a year is going to be over $1 billion in the budget. Across the nation, the studies show the legislation could eliminate 2 million jobs, 2 million. And that's after the creation of these so-called new green jobs is taken into account. They claim this is about helping you. The bottom line is it's about controlling you further. It's about making you more reliant on government. It's about getting more money out of your pocket into Washington. Now, we're all in favor of businesses succeeding, whether it's the existing energy companies or whether it's new green energy companies. I mean, if they succeed, that's great. If they're green energy from wind turbines and from solar panels is effective in producing efficient means of energy and inexpensive energy, that's great. It's going to create jobs. But government can't create it by fiat. It can't create new jobs by eliminating the jobs that are already existing in our country. Now, the people who authored this legislation, they say that they want to make our country less dependent on foreign oil. But once again, look at what they leave out of this. If they want us to be less dependent on foreign oil, they can do it right now. The National Geologic Survey has found millions upon millions of available barrels of oil for exploration in ANWR, in the Outer Continental Shelf, in the Bakken Reserve. We could do more business with Canada to import oil that's derived from the Alberta tar sands, but you know why we don't? Because environmentalists have convinced Congress that that's dirty oil and it puts more carbon in the atmosphere, and I'll be damned if we're going to let that carbon get up there and let more trees grow as a result, because trees feed off of CO2. We just had British Petroleum just yesterday announced that they had uncovered what they called, quote, a giant oil find 7 miles under the Gulf of Mexico. The oil is available to us. We choose not to exploit it in this country is the problem, and that's why we're so doggone dependent on the Saudis and the Iraqis and the Iranians and the Venezuelans and people who don't have our best interests at heart. Ensis Energy recently did a study and said that under this new plan, our nation is actually, not only because it doesn't exploit the reserves that we could bring to market, but it would actually make us even more dependent on foreign oil. They project that U.S. refining production would drop. It'll drop under this legislation by 25%. Any refiners in here? Yeah. Take a look around. Take a look around at 3 people near you. So you got a group of 4. One of you won't have a job when this is said and done. Okay, which one of you? That brings it home to real people, doesn't it? Add to that, this Ensis study also found that our import of gasoline and other fuels will nearly double as a result of the legislation. The end result, less domestic production, more reliance on foreign energy, fewer American jobs, less security, more imports. And you say, well, look at the bright side. We shut down some more of those refineries. If we can get people to stop using some of that oil that we drill for here at home, we'll clean up the environment. We won't have all that. And when they say clean up the environment, they're talking about one thing, CO2, which the EPA is about to name a dangerous pollutant. It's what I've exhaled with every breath up here today. I apologize for endangering your lives with all of that. But So they're going to save the planet by cutting down on CO2 by closing some of your refineries, and I'm going to pick you, eliminating your job in that group of 4, eliminating your job in that group of 4. Okay? They're going to save the planet. Think about this. Think about this now. We're still going to bring in oil to this country. We're just not going to drill for it here. It's going to be refined someplace else. The planet's not going to be saved. The same emissions are going to be going whether we refine that oil or someone else does. Isn't it better if we refine it, keep the jobs here in America? I'm not sure of the motives of our House members who voted in favor of this legislation in Washington, and we can't do anything about that now. But we can do something about our 2 senators who, despite their unwillingness to put this into budget bills, this legislation into budget bills, have shown that they are sympathetic to the causes of the people who are pushing cap and tax and this so-called climate change legislation. In fact, Senator Debbie Stabenow recently said, I don't know how many of you heard this. This is an all-timer. I'm going to quote. This is a quote. 2 sentences. Global warming causes more volatility. I can feel it when I fly. I don't know about that. But I do know about the economic volatility that is going to be created if this bill becomes law for our country.
I'd like to see her fly without our kerosene.
Man, I didn't want to say anything about that either, but I think it's time that we create a little man-made volatility in a real sense. Volatility on this issue. This legislation carries every bit as much import as the health care legislation that's being pushed. We've seen so much passion in that debate. I would hate to see this important legislation sort of be lost in the shuffle under the passion that we see over health care, which deserves every bit of the uproar it's seen at those town hall meetings. I hope all of you will let our elected leaders know that you recognize the dangers of this legislation to our economy, to the people of Detroit, to the people of Michigan, even if they don't or won't acknowledge it. We need to send this message now before our future is shaped for us in a way that will benefit none of us. Let your voice be heard. Take advantage of the materials that are being provided here today. Communicate with your representatives in Washington. You can make a difference, all of you energy citizens. I hope you choose to do so. God bless you and thank you very much.